Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. Before we dive into the reading, I'd just like to let you know that I've opened up personal readings again for a limited period. I've left details in the description box below. I've picked up on the energy of someone who, if they looked at their life right now in terms of how they're feeling and their perspective, is going through something like a post-healing phase. This is also sounding like a post-integration phase, like there are so many things that you have learned, and while you acknowledge that healing never really ends, there is a chapter that you're now able to say you have closed, and there are insights and ways of being, learnings that you've now gathered that you can safely sort of, let's call it, put it in a book and actually take it forward with you. In your heart, I have the Death card. And this is where I saw renewal being brought into your life. And so even though your everyday experience might still feel like, there is a lot around you that is changing, there is a lot around you that you'd maybe still like to change, all of that, a lot of pain that surrounds you still in your world, in your environment, not necessarily within you, you are aware of which parts of yourself can be presented in these areas of your life and your environment to bring shifts into them in a way that is not difficult for you, in a way that is now fully integrated within you, in a way that you can show up in places without any shame around what you have to offer. So what this is yes, a form of authentic emergence. Essentially, there's a part of you that has been cultivated, okay, but also kept hidden within you and is now ready. You are now consciously ready to present this aspect of yourself as an integrated part of the human being that you now are. In a way, we can refer to this as a graduation, but I also want to talk about what's happening in your mind. What's actually happening is that you are moving through a time where you have almost like a clear snapshot of ways you used to do things, the way you used to think, the way you used to behave, and then right alongside that, your new ways. And so you are actively and consciously walking away from your past way of doing things. What this looks like is when you communicate with people, there are things about yourself that you weave into your communication that you used to conceal. Okay? And so this speaks a lot to not just the process of self-acceptance, but also if you look at the solar plexus, that's the Ace of Pentacles and the Magician, you are using your voice. If you look, there is a Three of Swords in the throat, and I'll get to that because the Three of Swords does not always indicate what it says on the card, sorrow and pain and all of that. We will expand on that. But you are basically using the opportunity to show up in your world and to use your new mode of showing up to create new opportunities for yourself and for your world. Okay, so you are recognizing your own value and the value that is available through you in your world. Rather than looking at yourself as a person who, let's say, needs something from the world and wants to share that aspect of yourself with the world, but that, let's say, the world is not ready for, or that the world may not accept. And so you've completely shifted how you are presenting yourself in your world, which is huge. Okay. To go back to the Three of Swords in your throat, what I'm seeing here is actually healing. And so what I'm seeing is that the way you're communicating is not only healing yourself, okay, through this transition and observing how you're shifting through becoming this new version of yourself, but also the healing that you're able to speak into your world and your environment, those around you. Some come to you seeking advice, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously. And also just your impact that your general field and all of its programs have on your world. I feel like I should just talk about programs for a little while before we move on. The idea of a program is, let's say, pre-existing ways of thinking that exist in a person's field. These systems can be susceptible to being corrupted by, let's say, someone else's intentions, someone else's narrative towards you, the things that they speak into you, the wishes that they send your way. Your mindset can be find itself susceptible to being corrupted when these things reach you, unless you have done a lot of the mindset work around how you think and your behavior and why you do things the way you do them. And so what happens is that you kind of reprogrammed your own mind and your own field, and so then you are less susceptible to other people's, let's say, influence, other influences from other fields, that kind of thing. And so I'm actually sharing that to reframe our narrative that we, some of us, maybe many of us, have got used to around topics like, let's call it witchcraft, and topics like dark forces and all of that. And so now I'm seeing you in a much more empowered mindset where you're completely aware, where you held your own program that was thinking in a way that does not align with what you know. And so even if we think about the idea of cognitive dissonance, this is a person knows something is a certain way but behaves in a different way. And so the knowing and the behavior are not coherent. Okay, they're not speaking to each other. And it causes a lot of havoc and a lot of internal warfare, actually. And so you're moving away from a lot of this internal warfare because you've moved into alignment and a state of heightened awareness that is able to recognize what is happening in your environment without allowing your environment to corrupt how you're feeling. This is actually interesting. This is different wording because this message came up in the last membership reading that I did. I believe it was there. It wasn't so much the speak of dark forces and all of that, but it was around being susceptible to the environment and its programs, and the wording was different, but this is now, I'm seeing this integrated in this energy that I'm reading for. I also think that we sometimes underestimate the impact that our shifts in mindset have on our environments and have on the general world. Because when you are walking around, doing whatever, buying flowers in an office, and your field is programmed in a healthy mindset that makes sense and a mindset of truth, if you are programmed in that way, your program is so powerful. In a way, you could see it as your program corrupting another one, but actually, if something is moving into truth, it is not corrupting, it is aligning. And so your field is now having that effect on unconscious programs around you, is that it is aligning them. It is aligning them. Whereas you actually, in this new way of yours and where you are now, you are moving around with this knowing, but consciously. And so that amplifies the impact. Okay? Something that annoys me is when I listen to my recordings and I keep hearing, okay, and I don't know how it lands on you, but for me, it sometimes makes me feel like I sound like a teacher, and I suppose there are things that I'm teaching, but to sound like a teacher makes it sound like I know everything and you do not, and that is definitely not the case. I am also being taught as I do these readings. I learn a lot from the field that we share when we come together in this co-creative experience. So thank you. In your third eye, I have the Four of Cups. Okay, and so for me, the cups are aligning with what I see in your sacral chakra, which is the Page of Cups and the Ace of Cups. And so this for me speaks to what you're picking up as you move through your world, and even when you're on your own. And I also see someone in their own environment, when they're on their own, becoming much more aware of the shifts, is what I'm seeing. Much more aware of the shifts and really contemplating these shifts, and also comparing them to the state of affairs of like the various people in your world, your various relationships, and all of that. And so I see a person that is actually walking around in their normal and general life, but in a state of meditation. And so I'm very much seeing you as having integrated the meditator in you outside of your sitting space, outside of your individual sitting space. And so what I'm actually saying to you is that you are way more grounded than where you came from. You are grounded and in an action state, okay? And aware that you're in a time of renewal and that you are completely elevated compared to who you were before. And I see this action grounded in your stability, like it's in your stable zone, in your root is the Chariot. Okay, you have met yourself in the middle on so many things in your life. Okay, in the imperfection and even in the ideal spaces where things are just the way you want them to be. Your ability to recognize both of these two and hold them together and not panic because there's a misalignment here and there, and also not paint everything with the same brush just because, you know, you're moving forward, you're taking action in your life, and you're bringing more change in your life because of the level of awareness that you currently hold. I'm going to get some advice here for us, but I also want to let you know that I am going to create an extended reading looking more into a specific scenario in your life for whoever I'm speaking to in this reading. I'm going to go deeper into that. I'll leave the title, obviously, on the video will be on the thumbnail as usual, so you can tell whether it resonates with you or not. I've pulled some cards for your advice, and starting off with the Sun and then the High Priestess, what they're saying is to allow for everything to be revealed through you. They're saying that there are a lot of insights that you receive that you do not have the visibility in terms of its impact. You know, like you can't see the full impact that you actually have on your world. And what they're showing me is for you not to discount these insights and this impact and your exposure. Okay, so what they're referring to is to not underestimate or discount the impact of your exposure. What they're trying to show me and get me to explain to you that your presence, okay, your presence and other people's exposure to you has an impact. And there are sometimes things that you say that maybe later you think about, and also things that you don't say that have an impact on others. I'm seeing a person interacting with other people, sometimes briefly and sometimes over an extended period, and not necessarily a big exchange of words, just the exposure. But then I see you walking away from that encounter, wondering why you can feel a shift in that individual or group of people, a shift that you created possibly that you did not do intentionally. Okay, so what you're picking up on, this is very quantum, what you're picking up on is the impact of your presence on another person's experience of you. Okay, and I'm here to confirm that that is correct, even without a lot of communication. Again, this is speaking to actually your programs and the impact that they're having on your space and your world. You're very powerful at this time. And I know my voice sometimes sounds like I'm just speaking words flat because I'm not hectically emoted or whatever you want to call it. But they're saying to allow this to be expressed through you. I'm seeing a highly energetic individual. I'm actually seeing you and your field. I see your body. And outside your body, I'm almost seeing, like on a cartoon where they show, like if there's someone smelly, for example, and then they show like, let's say it's Snoopy, the cartoon dog. And like, let's say he smells of something and then there's like all those funny fumes coming out of them. Okay. You have these funny fumes coming out of you that are invisible, but those fumes are not smelliness. Those fumes are your energy and its work. Okay. And so it's affecting people. And so all of these sort of codes of that align thinking patterns and all of that are affecting people around you. People around you, through being within close proximity of you, are having their thinking patterns either rearranged or clarity is reaching them in your presence. Someone could be sitting with a problem that has lingered for a while, a conundrum in their mind that they think about, something they struggle to word, something that they have been struggling to solve for, and then they find themselves in close proximity to you. Okay. Obviously, this is someone that's noticed you and that you have maybe even locked eyes with briefly, let's say, if you don't actually speak to each other, but clarity lands in your presence. And so these people may not actually tell you, hey, while I was standing next to you, I got an answer for something that I've really been battling with for a while. This is weird. They may not say that, but it's happened. And so what these cards are telling me is that allow for these transformations to happen. Don't hold yourself back. With this new version of yourself, take yourself out into the world and stop hiding. You cannot see the impact of your presence in the experience of others. You cannot see the world that you're building around you, okay, because it's not your hands and it's not necessarily your mind that's consciously doing this work. They're saying just being you, just using your voice, just showing your face, your presence is so welcome and so much needed at this time. Okay, and they're very much speaking to me about new opportunities coming of this. Okay, new opportunities coming of this. Some of them look small and they're saying lean in. They're saying lean into this and the experience. I'm going to leave this here. I'll leave the link to the extended below. Thank you all so much for your various ways of supporting the channel. And today I actually want to give a special thanks to every single individual who listens to this channel, who is committed to themselves and their personal growth and development, because I can feel the shift in this space. I can feel the shift in this space. And so I want to acknowledge how much you've put into yourself and how many fears you've conquered and how you have let your ego rest so that you can experience healing and peace, even in uncertainty and chaos. Sending you all so much love.